Dillian Whyte was just walking past us here. Dillian, your thoughts just very quickly on what you've seen in the ring tonight.
I said it, if Joshua tried to box, he was always going to lose. I said if he come out and bully Usyk and push the pace and let his hands go, I thought he'd have knocked him out in the first 7 rounds. But Joshua come out, he's been too negative. He seemed like a gun-shy fighter. He just seemed like he wanted to let his hands go, but you know when fighter get old, he's not old, but you want to let your hands go, but you think, I'm just a bit off, but you're a bigger man, have a go, like, have a go. I don't know, he lacked ambition in there, in my opinion, tonight.
And just tell me, Dillian, at what point did you realise, and did you see that wasn't going to go AJ's way tonight?
The first round, Usyk come out, Joshua should have come out in the first round and land the first 10 blow. Usyk landed the first 10 blow, and from then, Joshua went into a negative. He had a few moments where he pushed Usyk in the back foot, but from then he was a negative fight all the way through. Joshua can sometimes get worried. He got tagged with a straight left, and he just started being worried the whole time.
No, you're right. It was the very first round. Yes. It was 7 seconds in. It was a big left hand, and from that point on, there was seen to be doubt. How can there be doubt in the first round?
He was very clever as well. He kept him winning in the last 10 seconds of the round, and pushing Joshua back in the last 10 seconds of the round. So he just used his experience and enforced doubt in Joshua and lack of self-belief in Anthony, you know.
It goes without saying, Dillian, will you be pushing for a fight with him if you come through Otto Wallin? If you come through Otto
focus on Otto Wallin first, and after we'll see. But I tell you what, I won't be losing no 12th round decision like that. I tell you that now. I will go out and I will have a shootout. If I get knocked out, I get knocked out. But I will have a shootout. I'm not getting outboxed at 12th round like that. No chance.
I know he's telling the truth.
Dillian Whyte, thank you so much for stopping by ringside here at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, where we have just witnessed Anthony Joshua lose his...
What's good, family? So smash the like button, subscribe and look off the bell. So we just heard there from your man's Dillian Whyte. Now, you man who watch my post-fight live will know that I've given Dillian a lot of respect for how he's come back in his career, because I do rate him. I rate the things he says as well, but mostly I rate the character of Dillian. What do I mean by the character? Yeah, check this. Dillian factually doesn't have the best genetic base. We know he can go cold out at a moment's notice. We know he can be whooping on some old man, and next thing you know, he'd spark out. But despite clearly he isn't the number one athlete and the number one chin and whatever else, but despite all these misfortunes as such, how he approaches things, he got straight back in there with Povetkin and give Povetkin the work. No fear. Straight in there. Hop straight on it. Rolled the legs off Povetkin. I rate that. Not only rate that, this is what I've been trying to tell you AJ fans for the longest time. You need that. You must have that. The equivalent of what Dillian did against Povetkin, yeah, is like AJ going in there with Ruiz the second time and smoking Ruiz, which should have happened. Based, look at Chris Arreola. Chris Arreola fought the better Ruiz. Ruiz was training with Alvarez, Canelo Alvarez's trainer, the pound for pound great. Ruiz was at his lightest weight ever. Best shape ever. And Arreola played ping pong with Ruiz, put him down, did something AJ couldn't do. Proving how really bad that Ruiz rematch was. But think about the spite, think about the courage it took, Dillian, to go in there with Povetkin. Think about the confidence, the certainty. Dillian knew, this dude ain't in my league, he caught me lacking, yeah. AJ, when he went in there with Ruiz the second time, there was no confidence in there. Where was that certainty? And this is the thing, you see. God gives different people different challenges. Dillian may have more physiological challenges. I.e., like I said, he's not the number one athlete. He's not the number one chin. AJ's clearly got different challenges. More psychological. He should have gone in there, I'm not saying sloppily. Number one, he should have sacked Rob McCracken. So again, when we talk about misgivings here, they're different. Like I said, psychological. For some reason, AJ's got McCracken's got some hold over him. Fury sacked Ben Davison, moved somewhere else. Moved to the Kronk. He's been flourishing ever since. AJ Psychologically, he linked him a crap and he can't leave. He can't leave the nest. Can't move on and progress to brighter pastures, to greener pastures. Being held down with an extremely limited trainer. It's madness. So yeah, we've all got different challenges in life. AJ's challenges, he don't even notice them. He just seems happy just to float along. And that's why I do really have the more I see, the more I do really respect Dillian, to be fair to him. Yeah, I'm not impressed with his next opponent, but putting that to one side, I do really rate that. I rate it a lot, and I believe him, to be fair. I believe what he says. He said here, listen, if I fight Usyk, you best believe I ain't going to lose to a cruiserweight on points. I'm going to go out on my back flat out. And we've seen Dillian. He happy to go out, yeah? But you need that. You need that spite. You need that fearlessness. If I have to go spark out, that's where I'm going. This is the fight game. And I said this after the Ruiz 1 performance. I said, listen, if you're scared to go spark out, retire. It's a bit like racing drivers. Racing drivers say, if you have a crash, yeah, and you're scared to put your foot on the throttle all the way, you've got to retire. Otherwise, you end up actually worse off. You end up actually more nervous, more anxious, which means you can't focus as well, which makes it more dangerous. Which, like I said, is what I've been saying. When you go in there, yeah, and you're not on point, and you're not 100% sharp, and you're not 100% rock hard, you end up in situations like we watched tonight. You end up getting lit up by a cruiserweight. It's not a simple case of, oh, YB, you know, it doesn't matter that AJ's got a different personality. Listen, we can all... different personality, that's not the problem here. When AJ was in there with Dillian Whyte, and when AJ was earlier on in his career under Tony Sims, you could see it in his eyes. The way he'd perform. He had that burning whatever it is. He was on site. He had that thing Dillian Whyte is talking about now. Yeah? He was prepared to get on it and ride it off to the end, till the wheels fell off. In recent years, in my opinion, Rob McCracken's influence, which has been the sole influence, has been draining AJ's energy. Draining it all. Bottom line. Until this point, where we find ourselves today. Again, Dillian Whyte said, there was no ambition in there. There wasn't any, it's a fact, isn't it? There was no ambition. There was no certainty. There was no aggression. That comes from, it has to be almost trained into you. Mike Tyson would talk about how Castillo would spend hours and hours talking to him about the philosophy of a fighter. What makes a champion? What makes a warrior? Did you see any of them elements in AJ's performance tonight? Did you see any elements of, or did you see any of the finer points of what makes a warrior in the performance tonight? I saw a wet fart, truth be known. I saw a wet fart that nearly got knocked out in the last... I swear to God, I had my hands, and I'm not someone who's scared easily, yeah. But I kid you not, I had to turn away. In that last round, for that last minute, I had to turn away. I couldn't watch it. I couldn't watch. AJ rocking and rolling on the ropes. Inches away from being put down. I thought this isn't happening. Surely not. So like I said, what did you man, if anything, what did you see in AJ's performance that you can take from this and say, and go with the bank with it? What was certain about this performance? Never mind certain. Anything? It was a whole, like I said, it was a wet fart. It was a big wet fart performance. Big wet sour fart. And Dillian, much like myself, even after the Pulev fight, we said the same things. And in fact, even before this fight, before the Usyk fight, yeah, literally an hour before, Dillian Whyte had an IFL TV interview. He said, Yeah, I'm not sure what AJ's going to do. He's got 4 trainers in his camp, and it's all a bit messy, and it's no wonder AJ has no decisiveness, has no ambition. He's got about 4 different men in his camp, all in his ear. None of which have any clue, by the way. It's not even the case where you can say, well, at least one man knows what they're doing. AJ's got 4 men, which adds to confusion, adds to the uncertainty, and not one of them is bringing much to the table. So you've got four moist men with no clue, all just clingers on, in my opinion, all just milking the ATM machine, and all just draining. Because you forget, when you have a lot of clingers on you, people who need the money, that puts built-in stress onto AJ, built-in pressure. Oh, I got to win because I need to keep my payroll going. I need to keep people employed, and so and so's having a kid soon, and he needs to be. You can't be thinking about them elements. Sorry, Rob. I don't care if you got to put your kids through school, even though I've paid you a lot of money already. I'm gone. And to be honest, even that, if you want to be a charity case, AJ, to your people, make them a charity case. Put them on the payroll, but don't sacrifice your career to try and blow their egos up. Tell Rob, I love you as a dad. Let me put you on a dad payroll. Just sit down somewhere. Dude, I'd rather you and your fans, AJ, or me and your fans would rather you do that. If you feel so guilty, put them on a payment plan. Tell them to sit down somewhere. Tell them to sit in the cupboard with Barry with a 4-pack and crack on with your career. Because what's it about? At the moment, your career looks like you're trying to please everyone. Or you're trying to please everything apart from your actual career. Because your career ain't getting pleased. Your future isn't getting... your history in the sport isn't getting verified right now. And everyone can see it. But yourself, it seems. But your team. Dillian Whyte Dumbin said the things back from the Pulev fight. He looks confused. He's got 1 foot in, 1 foot out, which is the case. He went wild against Pulev. And to be fair, at least in that fight, he went wild. There was no going wild in the Usyk fight, and I think that's probably because he knew Usyk was young. He knew Usyk had a gas tank. AJ didn't dare go wild against Usyk. It's like the one time, yeah, AJ fans, I wouldn't have minded him see him go wild in this fight when he was down bad. Oh, to be fair, I was waiting for it. I thought, you know what? Maybe he's going to give us a wild spurt. We didn't even get that this time. This time it was the worst of both worlds. We got a moist performance and then no wildness at all. Not even once in the 12 rounds did we get some wildness. Maybe it would have been that wildness that turned the fight, if that makes sense. Because there were a few points here, and I'm not saying, to be fair, it goes both ways. There were a few points, AJ looked like he was about to be smoked, but there was a few points in the fight here that Usyk looked like he was just about ready, you know what I'm saying? He was just about ready to go. Or maybe not ready to go, but he was getting there, if that makes sense. You could see how a few more shots after that, Usyk may have been wobbly. Because I remember around the 6th round, jumping up saying, yeah man, we're about to get going now. Usyk's fading. But then, good old wet fart came through and flopped on us. No oomph. Everyone been saying it. And I hate to break it to you again, but guess what? Back from the Pulev fight, the same people have been saying the same things. Carl Froch. Now, don't get me wrong, Carl Froch is a Rob McCrappen shill, but obviously he's blinded by it too. But even though Carl Froch is a Rob McCrappen shill, yeah, the facts are the facts. Carl Froch said after the Pulev fight, what's AJ doing for 5 rounds? Just airy-fairying. That airy-fairying more or less translated into this fight. Whole bunch of airy-fairying. Whole bunch of nothing having us. Dillian Whyte said the same thing. Peter Fury said the same thing. And now again we have it. The difference is Pulev, old, no good. Usyk, young and good. And that's what happens. Like I said. I called it. I said if you go 10 rounds, yeah, against Pulev, half of which you're going 50-50. Don't forget that, people. Apart from the few spurts, yeah, The rest of the fight was 50-50 with Pulev. If you're doing that, what do you think can happen when you go in there with someone young and more skilled than Pulev? Oops. You see what happened. But no one want to listen. AJ don't want to listen. He still thinks that, oh, no, it's cool, I'm going to go in there with Robin. Me and Rob are going to win. Oh, AJ, how are you going to win? What's your strategy? Oh, no, we're just going to win. We're just going to win, yeah. No, but what's your strategy? Well, you know, there ain't really no strategy. We're just going to win, and... Wow. What is this? This ain't amateur boxing no more. 3 rounds, 3 2-minute rounds, where you can just win. Oh, a lot of the top fighters, Floyd Mayweather was good enough just to win. He had that level of IQ. You ain't got that. Unfortunately, it's a fact. You ain't. Because if you did, you'd have won against Usyk. Bearing in mind you had all the advantages. You had the size, you had everything else. You had all the advantages and you still lost. So you ain't got that level of IQ. I hate to break it to you, it's a fact. We now know that. This whole shtick here, this whole shtick, AJ and his team have been ferrying around. Oh, we want to learn to box. Oh, we're going to prove we can box. Box. Oh, we want to prove we're not a brawler. Well, that game's up now. You've now proven you can't outbox Usyk. And the odds are you probably can't outbox Fury. Oops, here we are. Because you man know me, yeah? I bet... I put my money, yeah, where my mouth is. And that's why I'm pissed off as well. Got the YB weights in his coins. As if I ain't already broke. You know what I'm saying? Got me down bad. So make sure no one don't at me saying, oh, YB, you know, you're being harsh here. Because it's harsh to my... Listen. My bank account feels harsh. How about that? Yeah? AJ, put some coins in there and maybe I'll ease up. How about that? Yeah? Because your coins are just fine. Your coins going up. All of us fans' coins down bad right now. I've been telling you, man, that I believe if AJ fights Fury and he decides to dance around and box, I said to you, man, I thought it was a 50-50 fight, but because of AJ's athleticism, I believed he would win on points. I said that this heavyweight division isn't good enough to stop AJ. To stop AJ's elite genetics. That's what I said. I said that not Usyk, not Fury, no one would be able to beat AJ. Either way. That's what I said. But unfortunately, we've now been proven wrong. That's not the case, people. AJ's athleticism is not enough to beat the top level boxers. We now know that as a fact. Usyk beat him a cruiserweight. And I'm happy now to extrapolate, Fury would have beat him too. It's over. That narrative of, oh, he'll always find a way to win. No, he won't. Which means we now have one more option. Because that other option's gone. That option where I was telling you, man, that, oh no, don't worry, people. You know, even if AJ decides to box with Fury, it's close, but he's still going to win. Sorry. That's been burnt. And by the way, this option, AJ's ability to box, hasn't only just been burnt yet. He nearly got stopped by Usyk as well, boxing. If that makes sense. This isn't the case where YB... You see how Mayweather schooled Alvarez. Mayweather schooled Alvarez, but didn't come nowhere to stopping him. See the difference there? The gulf in IQ between AJ and Usyk was miles apart. AJ nearly got stopped. So we now need to nip in the bud this whole narrative and this whole shtick of, oh, we want to box and we're going to prove we can box. I mean, Eddie Hearn even said after the fight, oh, I think AJ wanted to prove... In fact, AJ himself even said before the fight, oh, we want to prove that we can outbox with the best of them and all this kind of stuff. I want to prove I can outbox the best boxer and all. You tried it that way and you flopped. You are not the best boxer. It's over. You went in there with a smaller man and you couldn't outbox him. So, that ain't you. Get it in your head. It's never going to be you. It was never meant to be you. That's why you was blessed with different gifts. You weren't blessed with the boxer gifts. If you was, you'd have won tonight. You didn't. What you need to do is play into your strengths. God's given you certain strengths. Look at the size of your legs. And it's not just size, but there's a reason for it. There's a reason certain athletes are explosive. and others aren't. They're designed for different things. You seem obsessed with trying, I don't know what it is. I think possibly it's an excuse, because you don't want to get stuck in, and you'd rather, oh, I want to prove I can box. No, I think you don't really want to commit and get stuck in, truth be known. I don't think you really want to prove you can box. I think you'd rather, if you can, just get through and nick a few fights and nick some points. That's what I think it is. You don't really want to commit. And if that's the case, you need to retire. I don't think you really want to stick your neck on the line and go Dillian Whyte style against Povetkin 2 and double down on yourself and get gritty. I don't think you want to do that. I think you want to, I'll stay in the game, and if I can win doing this airy-fairy rubbish, I'll win. If not, then I won't. So at this point, you need to decide what you want to do. And by the looks of it, you want to keep cracking on doing this airy-fairy rubbish. And this in the middle, wishy-washy. This performance was wet fart wishy-washy. 100%. And Dillian, 100% correct. No doubt. And actually, before I go, at the end of that interview clip, Dillian said, listen, if I fight Usyk, there's no way I'm going out bad like that. There's no way I'm going out on points versus a small, shrimpy cruiserweight. I'm going out on my back. Now, me and many other people have laughed at Dillian, he got knocked out and whatever else, but as a fan, I respect that. From AJ, we've heard, I'm going for the KO, but I never heard that kind of commitment before, and we haven't seen it. Before it was fine. Oh, well, he's winning. Now you ain't winning. And we ain't seen no commitment in your performance. You in there with a smaller man, no excuse. This guy wasn't even a smaller man with massive knockout power. He's a small dude who had no power in his own weight division. And the way you was in there with him was like he was had Thor in his hand, had Thor's hammer in his hand. The way you was scary and the way you was getting backed up, the way you was on the ropes and all this kind of madness. And like Dillian said, as a fan I can work with that. As a fan that inspired me, hearing Dillian say, listen, I don't care what goes on, but I ain't going out on points to Usyk. No way. And I believe him. I believe him. I mean, even look at Dillian Whyte's other fights against Parker and whatnot. He nearly went out, you know what I'm saying? You have to give him credit. He left it all in there. 100%. Can't knock him for that. Where is that venom? Where is that passion? Where is that pride? Where is it? You man tell me. Super duper AJ fans, you man tell me where it was. Because I tell you where it weren't in that performance. Not even a bit. No, there was no pride in there. There was no shame.